From now until the end of July, all WagerTalk and SportsMemo customers can load as many as 3 and 7-day all-access passes as they want into their shopping cart and take 60% off using coupon code CART60. This coupon code can be used only once at WagerTalk and once at SportsMemo, but there is no limit to the amount of 3 and 7-day all-access passes you can load into your cart when redeeming. Every handicapper is eligible, so take advantage of the biggest discount we have ever offered. And don't forget, coupon code CART60 can only be used once per site and expires when the clock strikes midnight on July 31st.
Hey guys, Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com with the Thursday edition of Stoppage Time. We are literally just a couple weeks away from the EPL season, from La Liga, from Serie A, from Bundesliga, and from League One starting up. I think League One goes first. But before that, we are going to cover 3 games for this weekend in MLS action. And then we're going to finish off the show with some futures and prop bets teasers for the EPL season, which we are going to cover in full on Tuesday's show. Tuesday's show will be dedicated completely to the new season of Premier League. To discuss it with me from SportsMemo, Pavlos, Laguretos, and from WagerTalk.com, it is Nick Borrman and Kevin Dolan. Kev, I'm going to talk to you first, my friend. Welcome back. You had the week off last week, but you are doing fantastic since February. 76.83% bankroll gain in, I think, 3% plays or higher in soccer.
Yeah, had another nice winner in the Champions League qualifier last night, although supporting Celtic's always a tough job. You know, they crashed out again in the qualifying stage, so another year without Champions League football. But great to be back on the show. Jeff Bezos says hi, by the way. I was watching that Stoppage Time episode last week where you were saying that, but you know, I wish I had a spare few billion in my back pocket to go to outer space. Need to hit a few more Chelsea futures this season to fund that kind of trip. But yeah, back to full fitness now, raring to go. And you know, we have that special 1-year all access soccer promo event going on right now at WagerTalk, so check that out. Released 6 futures already for this season with a ton more to come. So yeah, excited about that and excited to talk some MLS today.
All right. Yes, and as Kevin mentioned, I'll bring in Nick next on this one. If you visit any of the Capper pages, we currently have a deal for the first 5 people for either Capper. You can head over to the page. There are some coupon codes there. You can use them to get $400 off the full season 1-year package of soccer, which is normally $9.99. You can get it for $5.99. Once those single-use coupons are gone, so is that deal. Nick Borrman, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. You know, ready to get into the leagues here. The Euros was fun, but starting to drag on now with the Gold Cup and the Olympics, and doing well in the Gold Cup, but the Women's Olympics I stink at. USA, I don't know what the hell's going on with them. Anyway, tired of the tournaments at this point. Ready to get into league action. France starts next week, so excited for that. And of course, we'll talk some EPL today, but at least the MLS is going, which is like, you know, League C football, but it's something, right, Carv?
Yeah, it definitely is. You know, there's a couple Gold Cup games tonight. If you want to hear my thoughts on those ones, tune in at noon to Wager Talk today, and I'll be on there discussing those 2 games. But I was pretty happy with the Gold Cup quarterfinals. I took a USA win to nil plus 150 and Canada plus 200 over Costa Rica. I just thought that was such a good price on a team that was probably playing better than Costa Rica, and that one came through in flying colors. Pavlos, Laguretos, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great, guys. I'm super excited for the upcoming new season. I'm also excited for this weekend's MLS matches. I already have a couple of 5% in my sites. I'm gonna load them up after this show is done. I'm still gathering, you know, some information about who is injured and who is not. But I'm already locked on at least 2 matches, and I think I'll have like a multi-package with all the. You probably can get the entire weekend's worth of plays for a good deal. So yeah, I'm super excited. Bundesliga is also starting, but yeah, let's talk MLS and a little Premier Leagues today. Yep.
Yeah, And I will have a deal, also a show special, which will be good until next Wednesday at midnight. I'll give out that coupon code shortly. But like you said, MLS, we're going to cover 3 games that go this weekend. Austin, the expansion side, Austin FC versus Colorado. We're going to do Inter Miami versus Montreal. And we're going to finish it off with Toronto FC and Nashville, a big game that goes on Sunday. Let's go right to the first one. Austin FC and Colorado. Austin FC is plus 115. The draw is plus 230. Colorado is plus 240. And the total here is 2.5 goals. Pavlos, I'm going to go right back to you first on this one. Austin FC, their first win came back in April in Colorado against this Colorado side, beating them 3-1. And this is a Rapid side that normally doesn't do well against expansion teams. 1 win, 2 draws, 6 losses. You've got to go back to, I think, 2011, the last time they won an away game against an expansion team, and that was in Vancouver. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, and what a game it was. Actually, the Rapids took the lead in that match, but somehow Austin, they scored 3 goals in an 11-minute span in the second half, and they beat them by 3-1. But the truth is that Austin, they've done little since that win. I think they only beat Minnesota United and Portland, and all the other matches were losses or draws. Right now, they're coming off back-to-back losses on the road against Seattle and LAFC. They failed to score in both those matches, but they haven't been any good at home either. They have played 5 matches. They only have 1 win, 2 losses, and 2 draws. They've scored 4 goals and have conceded 4. But listen to that stat: they scored all 4 goals in the 4-1 win against the Portland, and they failed to score in their other 4 home matches. Colorado, as you said, yes, they're traditionally bad against expansion teams, and they used to be bad on the road. They used to be much better at home than they are on the road, but this season they've been mediocre. They have 2 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw on the road. They've scored 5 goals and they've conceded 8. So the way I look at this is taking the under here. Even though Colorado, they've scored in 12 of their 14 matches so far in the season. They've kept 6 clean sheets in the process, and only 7 of their 14 matches had over 2.5 goals, with an average of 2.6 goals per match. When you look at the same stats for Austin, they've only kept 4 clean sheets in 14 matches so far. They failed to score on 9 occasions. They've only scored in 5 matches so far. And only 3 of their 14 matches had over 2.5 goals, with a mere average of just 1.8 goals per match. So, yeah, at least in my perspective, I expect a low-scoring match, possibly a 1-0 or for either side. But I seriously love the under here, which keeps on dropping and dropping.
All right, some good numbers there. Nick, Pavlos talks about scoring, and I'm going to throw some scoring numbers at you. Last 11 games for Austin FC, 1 win, 4 draws, 6 losses, 6 goals in 11 games they've scored, and 4 of them came in that win against Portland, and their only win. So this team, it's a lack of scoring on this team. You look at the Rapids, it's a little different. Prior to that 3-0 loss in their last game against Real Salt Lake, they had gone 12 straight games scoring at least a goal, and the last time they were shut out in back-to-back games, you've got to go back to 2018, September, October, the end of September, early October, where they they were shut out consecutive times. What are your thoughts here on these two and the total in this game?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, I guess. With Austin, they're just bad. They're offensively, you can look at it any way you want. They average 0.71 goals this season, 1.16 expected goals, but still well below the league average. Bottom of the barrel as far as the standings in the West: 3 wins, 4 draws, 7 losses, -5 goal differential, 1 win in their last 11 games. If you look at the defensive numbers, as far as just goals scored, you'd actually think they're not too bad. They've conceded just 15 goals in 14 games, which, believe it or not, is actually the second fewest in the conference. The problem, as you alluded to, Carm, is just their offense has only scored 10 goals, while the next lowest team is Vancouver, which has scored 16 goals, so quite a bit of drop-off there. However, on the defensive side, I think they've pretty fortunate in that on the season, they allow 16 shots per game, which is tied for the second most in the league, and 5.4 shots on goal, which is the fifth worst in the league. They're also allowing 1.67 expected goals against, which is sixth worst. So somehow they've conceded just the second fewest goals in the conference, but they're near the bottom in all the numbers as far as shots and expected goals go. So eventually that's got to give. Those numbers will not hold up. Colorado, slightly below average offensively in terms of volume with shots on goal, and expected goals, but they're much better defensively. They allow only 11.4 shots per game compared to the league average, which is 12.8, which doesn't sound like a big difference, but again, that's about 5 shots less than Austin allows, which obviously is a lot. And they're giving up just 1.2 expected goals against, which is the 6th best in the league. So I've been doing very well here so far this year, taking better defensive teams on the road, even with plus goals. And I think it's pretty simple here. I'm just going to grab Colorado plus a quarter of a goal. Austin, 1 win, 11 games. I just don't see them getting up here and winning this game. So I'm just going to take Colorado at the plus number.
Very good stuff from Nick Borrman of WagerTalk.com. Kev, final word on this, and Nick does have a point. Maybe the odds makers have it right. They seem to always be on the right side of these as far as the numbers go, but plus 115 with Austin FC, even at home, for a team that is only has 1 win in their last 11 games, and in 10 of those 11, they've scored a combined 2 goals. Thoughts?
Well, I kind of agree with Pavlos' play. I kind of put it in a different perspective. I like the both teams to score no here, plus money, plus 105. So I like the value on that. As you guys said, going back to their last game, 3-1, even though it's high scoring on the surface, it was kind of skewed by those crazy 10 minutes of action. But, Colorado's form has picked up since then. 7 outright wins, 5 of them come with a clean sheet as well. The relative points per game has gone up 2.3% over the last 8 starts. Their average goals conceded has dipped minus 12.3% also. So, despite all their issues, they're finding ways to grind out these types of games, and I wouldn't write them off from doing the same here either. The one caveat I have is what Nick mentioned, expected goals against metrics. Austin, really good, but it's just the fact, can they keep that going here? While Colorado have allowed significantly more, 1.52 XG on average away from home. So, Austin definitely the better defensive team here, and that might be enough to see them over the line. But as I said from the start, the bet I like here is both teams to score no, going off of plus 105. Combining both of these two teams' records so far over this season has seen BTTS cash in just 27% of their respective matches. So even though we've seen that play out last time back in April, I'm not so sure we see it again. I do expect a lower scoring game. So yeah, both teams to score no for me here on Saturday, although I'm firmly in Pavlos' camp with the under as well.
All right. I was just looking to see what the price is on both teams to score no and under 2.5, and that price is plus 140. So if you think this is going to be one of those 1-0, 2-0, or 0-0 score lines, you can get plus money on that bet. All right, guys, before we head over to the second game, I want to tell you about the EPL. Obviously, the EPL preview show will go next week. We're going to talk about some games of interest in the first weekend, but we're going to talk about a lot of the markets, a lot of the books like DraftKings, Bet365, any of the books that you have out there will have markets on, obviously, not only the futures of who will win the EPL, but you can also take things like who the top goal scorer will be, teams to be relegated, teams to finish top 4, top 6, even regional winners, West London. They're just a slew of different futures bets, and we're posting a lot of them up at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo, but we're going to make some available on that show in the preview show. And we delayed the show because obviously the transfer window is still open. We want to make sure we know who is where. But there's a great deal that you can get. At Wager Talk and Sports Memo, you can now, if you want just EPL plays and EPL plays only, you can get an EPL package in the drop-down menu on your favorite cappers page. That package normally goes for $299. You can get $50 off by using coupon code EPL50. That is good until next Wednesday, midnight. $50 off that $299 package, and you get every single play released in the EPL all season, including future bets. So that's a great deal. Head over to WagerTalk.com and Sports Memo to take advantage of that deal. All right, boys. Second game, another one where I'm somewhat confused by the line, but that confusion happens a lot in MLS with me the last year or two. Inter Miami, Montreal. This one's in Miami. Miami is plus 105. The draw is plus 250. Montreal plus 240. The total is 2.5. Nick, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Montreal's never lost in this short history between these two teams. They are 3-0 lifetime versus Miami, including 2-0 this season. Miami's conceded a goal in at least one goal in 10 straight home games. But maybe this line is due to Montreal struggling a bit. 0-2 after their last couple of games after a 4-0-2 run over 6 games. So it was a very hot Montreal Impact team that's become very cold of late.
This, let me just say, this is not a game I had circled to watch this weekend, that's for sure. But doesn't mean we can't make some money on it. And I think the easy way to do it is to just keep fading Beckham's Miami. Now winless in their last 7 games, 1 win in their last 11, which came in against another crap side in Cincinnati. Just that things aren't looking good for this team. They're equally as bad as Austin in terms of offensive output, with only just 10 goals scored this season. But they've also allowed 23, which is the 4th worst in the conference. Montreal was playing very well. You mentioned the 2 losses they just had, Carm, but if you look at who they played arguably the 2 best teams in the league in New York City and New England. So I don't put too much on that. They only lost by a goal on the road. I actually think they did pretty decent to keep those games close. So I think they're licking their chops here now that they get Miami next. So it'll be a great chance to rebound and bounce back for them. Miami averaged the 2nd lowest expected goals per game, 1.06. The league average is 1.41. And also compared to New York City and New England, who are number 1 and number 3 in the league in terms of expected goals generated. So this is a much more paltry offense that they will be facing this week. They also have the Miami. They also have the 3rd fewest shots per game. They average just 9.9. And I just don't see them creating a lot of chances here in this game to really threaten Montreal that much. I mean, I think if I was going to say the Impact, it's now Club de Foot Montreal. If they score 1 goal here, I don't see Miami scoring more than 1 to get a win. And I another game that I'm just going to take the plus goals. Montreal plus a quarter of a goal on the road. I just don't see Miami putting away Montreal here and getting 3 points. I think it's pretty standard, pretty blah play, but I like Montreal.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to call them the Impact. Being a Toronto FC season ticket holder, and Montreal is one of the heated rival that we play against here. They'll always be the Impact. But Kev, I'm actually going to go to you next on this one. This is one of those ones where I get it in Miami. You bring in some players, maybe high-priced, some name players from Europe. It just doesn't seem to be working out. They brought in Gonzalo Higuain. They brought in Blaise Matuidi. They haven't returned to what they're being paid for as far as performances. And then they brought in a new manager who could be an old manager if this losing streak continues in Phil Neville. So he hasn't done anything with this team. But I will say the game against Philadelphia, they played extremely well, Miami. A little unfortunate to get a draw out of that one, a late goal by Philadelphia, the Union, in the 85th minute. Miami, I think, probably deserved better. Maybe that was the turning corner, if you can hold out any hope for this team.
Yeah, I mean, look, sign me up for a bit of that crazy spaghetti, because I'm looking at Inter Miami in this one. Look, there's no question. I'm not going to even argue about this point. We know how bad they've been. Rock bottom in the East, rock bottom actually out of any team in the MLS. Absolutely horrible home record, should I say. 0 wins, 5 losses from 7 games. But I don't know. I wouldn't say I totally agree with the line move. I think it is a bit short. But I don't know. I think they will find a way to win this game. No Pizarro. We know that due to his Mexico call-up. Higuain doubtful also as well with that injury. But, as you said, I was impressed with their passage of play against Philadelphia on Sunday for the most part. Philadelphia, stats-wise, have been rock solid all season. Third best XG numbers in the entire league away from home this year, 1.59. Yet Miami were able to keep them scoreless for 85 minutes in that game, allowing them just 4 shots on goal, 2 corners over the entire 90 minutes as well. So I was impressed with that. I think, momentum is such a huge thing in this league. I think Inter can carry that form on here against Montreal. Montreal, they have a ton of absences through call-ups and injuries heading into this game as well, along with those back-to-back defeats, albeit against good teams. So, I think momentum is going to play a huge part here. I think those absences from Montreal play a huge part here. And I think Inter Miami can get the job done at home here in this one on Saturday.
All right. That is Kevin Dolan of WagerTalk.com. You can find all of his plays there. Just hit up on his Cappers page, and he is on a very impressive run since February with his 3% or higher soccer plays. Pavlos, I'm going to give you the final word on this game. I'm going to throw this one out to you. I know you're a prop guy. I just see both teams scoring here. This game should have some goals in it. The both teams to score, yes, and over 2.5 is plus 120. So you're getting plus money 120 on a prop. And as I mentioned, Miami's conceded at least 1 in 10 straight home games. So even a struggling Montreal side is probably going to find the back of the net against a Miami team who might be playing better, might be on the turnaround. So I like that prop at plus 120. Thoughts?
Yeah, I love that. And when looking at Montreal's away records, last season they had 4 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. This season they have 2 wins, 4 losses, and 2 draws. And in those 18 matches, then they've only kept 3 clean sheets. They've conceded goals in 15 of their last 18 away matches. Of course, they've also both teams scored in. I think it was 8 of their 10 away matches last season. 8 of their So they score a lot on the road. Also, we failed to mention that Montreal, of course, that match was at home. They beat Cincinnati by 5-4 prior to their 2 losses to New England and New York City. So we know there's a lot of firepower up front for this Montreal side. And Inter Miami, when you look at their home record, they're just terrible. They've conceded multiple goals in all 5 losses this season, and they did fail to score in 3 of those. But as you said, Carmine, I also believe that Inter Miami are at a turning point. I do believe that at some point they're bound to win. I'm not sure that this is going to be the match. My prediction for this match is the over 2.5 goals. Even though both previous matches between the two sides this season were unders, 1-0 and 2-0 and 2-0 wins for Montreal. So I like the over here. I think that the Inter Miami will. I mean, they can't get any worse, right? I think they're only gonna get just a little bit better as the season progresses. But as far as this match is concerned, I like the over here. Even though Montreal, they've only had a couple of just 2 of their 8 matches this season. Of their 8 away matches were over 2.5 goals. Sorry, I still think that we're going to see a high-scoring match here. I mean, Inter Miami, I heard that Beckham went to the stands and watched the match, and I'm not saying that he's he didn't terrorize the players, but maybe he brought them some psychological boost. So I think that Inter Miami's I think they'll probably put an end to their losing streak, to their winless streak actually, because they did have a 1-1 draw against Philadelphia. Is right around the corner. I'm not so sure if this is going to be the match, but the way I look at this, this spells goals in my perspective. So I love the over 2.5 goals here.
All right. To use Pavlos's phrase, listen, many bad relationships have lasted months longer than they should have because it can't get any worse, to use Pavlos's thing. And that could be the Inter Miami Phil Neville relationship here. So we'll see if this team continues to lose. It can't get any worse, gets worse. Guys, one final game before we get into some EPL teaser futures. Toronto FC, Nashville. What would a show be without me putting Toronto FC as one of the 3 games. This team is playing a lot better since the firing of Chris Armas. 2 wins, 2 draws in 4 games. They're trying to make their way back up the East standings, and that Pavlos future that was plus or 150 to 1 on TFC is now 100 to 1. The odds here: Toronto plus 130, the draw plus 230, Nashville plus 200. The total is 2.5. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one. I know you like usually getting the last word on Nick. We could give you a rebuttal, but Nashville 2-0 lifetime against Toronto. They beat them in the playoffs last year. They've beaten them this year. But I mentioned Toronto 2-0-2. They still have some players playing for Canada in the Gold Cup, and they could use those players back. But I was at their last home game. They looked pretty impressive in that game. Still only came away with a draw. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, this is a slightly tricky game for me. I'm always a huge believer in current form in these types of games. What have you done for me lately kind of job. Mentioned that in the last preview as well. And, Nashville, in fairness to them, have ticked all of those boxes. Second hottest team over the last 6 matches behind Sporting Kansas, averaging a solid 2 full points per game over that run. But, where you really have to slam on the brakes with this Nashville team is in their respective home and road form, which has been pretty seismic and different. Nashville, home form, top of the league this season, 23 points from 11 games, 0 defeats, albeit they've played a lot more home games than the rest of the league so far. But, compare that to just 3 points from 4 games on the road for Nashville, no wins as well over that run. And it's just difficult to trust this team on the road right now, getting anything short of a full half a goal. Nashville's XG numbers have dropped off considerably, obviously, from home to road as well. They're registering the 4th best XG numbers in the league at home this season, clocking up, a fairly impressive 2.01 XG per game inside Nissan Stadium. But, away from home, it's the same story, 21st in the league with a 1.01 XG tally. So, I just can't get involved on their side here. And I'm going to look towards the total instead. Toronto are 24th in the league this season in chances created at home, 3rd bottom in the conference also in terms of actual goals scored. But they're a top 12 team in terms of expected goal against this year, which, as we all know, is a pretty good indicator, of effective defense. So, I think that paired along with the drop-off, as we said, in Nashville's road data, and I think there's some value back in the under here on Saturday between these two. And, that's the way I'd be looking to play this one, under 2.5.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. The thing about Nashville, and Pavlos, I'm going to go to you next on this one. Only 1 loss this season on the road to New York, but also they have that problem where just a ton of draws, along with the Houston Dynamo. They lead the league in draws with 8. So it's one of those things where a lot of low-scoring games, 0-0 games, 1-1 games. You don't see a lot of high-scoring draws in the MLS or any other league across Europe. Give me your thoughts on this one. Kev mentioned the wanting to get more than a quarter goal, and I agree with him on that. In a game that could end in a draw, you want to sort of get the full win by getting at least plus half a goal.
Yeah, this could easily be a draw. The way I look at this, actually, Toronto, yes, they've done a great job lately, but I'm just gonna stick to the numbers. In their last match, of course, they did beat Chicago, but Chicago had 31 scoring chances. They had 14 shots on goal, while Toronto, they had 8 scoring chances and 3 shots on goal. But it was enough to get the job done. They did win by 2-1. In their previous match against the Red Bulls, Toronto had just 6 goal attempts and 1 shot on goal. And the Red Bulls had 19 goal attempts and 4 shots on goal. It was a 1-1 draw. Again, a good result. But I think Toronto are stepping on the line here. Even in the previous match against Orlando City, Toronto had 9 goal attempts, 3 shots on goal. So they don't need many scoring attempts to score. I'm talking about Toronto, but they still allow a lot of scoring chances, a lot of XG against. So for Nashville, the lucky thing for Toronto is the fact that Nashville have been somewhat poor on the road this season. They haven't won. They have 3 draws and a loss. They've only scored in 1 of their 4 matches in the 2-2 draw against Atlanta United. They failed to score against Columbus, New York Red Bulls, and Real Salt Lake. Listen, I'd really love to see Toronto get a home win, even though I'm a Sounders fan. But this spells danger for Toronto, and I wouldn't be surprised by a draw, which is priced at plus 230 here. And as far as the over/under, I mean, you can make a case for either the over or the under. I mean, if you look at Toronto, most of their matches are over the line. But Nashville tends to keep, they're very careful. They've only lost once. They've kept 2 clean sheets on the road this season. Last season, they were excellent on the road, especially in the second half of the season. So, I mean, I really like the draw here, and quite possibly the 1-1 and 2-2 correct scores. The 1-1 is priced at plus 550 at Bet365. The 2-2 is priced at plus 1200 at Bet365. And Nashville, they have a lot of 2-2 draws this season. They have one against Cincinnati, one against Montreal, one against Atlanta, and one against another one against Atlanta. So in a match that looks like it will have goals from both sides, I like the draw and quite possibly the goal draw here with the aforementioned correct scores.
Yeah. Nick, he talked about it, and I'm going to say I was at the Red Bulls game, the Toronto FC Red Bulls game, and the numbers really don't tell the story in that one, in the sense of Toronto played a lot better than what the final numbers are. But you look at the Chicago game, and we've all lost games where we look at the box score and we say, and I'm talking about now about the Chicago-Toronto game, how did I lose this game? And that's the situation there. You look at it and we say, how did Toronto win that game? 31 attempts on goal by Chicago, 14 actual shots on goal, and they lose the game 2-1. Toronto only 3 actual shots on goal, 2 of them went in. That was one of those ones where they stole 3 points on the road.
Yeah, and this one to me is very simple. And with all due respect to Toronto's or Carm's Toronto, I don't see a win here for Toronto FC. I mean, Nashville is better in every department so far this year. I mean, Toronto averages 9.7 shots per game, 3.4 on goal. Nashville averages 15.3 shots on goal and 15.3 shots and 6.1 on goal, which rank 4th and 2nd in the league respectively. On defense, more of the same. Toronto allows 14.1 shots, 6.1 on goal. Nashville only allows 10.1 shots, 3.3 on goal. That puts Toronto as the worst team and Nashville as the second best team in terms of shots on goal allowed. Expected goal is more of the same. Toronto averages 1.254, 1.86 against. Nashville 1.774, 0.95 against. Nashville has the second best expected goal differential in the league. Toronto has the second worst. Throw in the fact that Toronto's still missing several players, as you guys mentioned already, for the Gold Cup. I don't see him getting 3 points here. Yeah, I'd rather have a plus a half a goal, but I'm surprised we're even getting a quarter of a goal. So I think it's going to move to a pick'em by game time. So I'm going to grab the plus quarter of a goal, and that's 3 for 3 for me on taking the road teams all plus a quarter of a goal, but Nashville all the way here.
All right. I like it. Those are the 3 games, guys, that we've covered. Austin FC, Colorado, Miami, Inter Miami, Montreal, and then Toronto and Nashville. We're going to do a quick roundtable on some EPL future bets. Some of them you'll find at your book, some of them you won't, but we will have a comprehensive breakdown of the EPL on Tuesday's show. And don't forget the promo, which I'll mention at the end of the show. But a quick roundtable, guys, of EPL futures. I'm going to throw one out to you guys, and this is because the price is good right now on this, and I think it'll probably shrink a little bit if there is some transfer news. But I'm going to take Harry Kane to win the Golden Boot at plus 350. You can find them at plus 400 at a couple of the DraftKings in different states. They have different prices. If he actually does. If the move does come and he goes to Man City, he's going to be the top scorer in this league. I know that there's some big prices out there on guys like Timo Werner, who didn't have a great season. They expect him to be better, but this is likely going to come down to one of 2 guys. It's going to be either Mo Salah or it's going to be Harry Kane. And if he signs with Manchester City, that plus 350, plus 400 is going to be plus 275, plus 300. So you get a little bit of value now with a guy who's going to score a bunch of goals this year in the EPL in my eyes. Pavlos, I'm going to go to you next.
Just a couple of thoughts on the top goal scorer. If Harry Kane does end up in Manchester City, I'll probably, of course, the price is going to drop and it's going to crash actually. But maybe that's the time to get any other player, because if Harry Kane's price goes down, that means that the price for other players will go up. So if he doesn't join Manchester City, maybe you can grab Gabriel Jesus at plus 1600. I mean, I'm not very high on that, but and even if they don't land Kane, they probably land some other top striker. But maybe, just maybe, that plus 1600 on Gabriel Jesus would be worth it. But I like Timo Werner. He got glasses in the off season and he got a surgery or something. He had myopia. I'm just kidding. He was just really bad at the finishing. But now that the entire Chelsea squad has gelled together, they won the Champions League. I mean, I think the sky is the limit for this new team. And barring any surprise, if they don't bring any other striker, which I don't think they will, of course, Giroud is also at AC Milan now. So I like Werner here. Another prop that I like is Leeds to finish at the top half of the league table. At I think it's a minus 130 something. It's not great odds, but Leeds, they were excellent last season. They barely made it to the top 7 spots, and they almost grabbed a European ticket. They made some great additions. They brought a good defender, Firpo from Barcelona, and a guy from Manchester City. So I think that Leeds will have another solid season. The price is not great, but I think that they will be able to finish at the top half of the league table.
All right. You're talking about Timo Werner getting glasses. You make it sound like he is Rick Vaughn, number 99 of the Cleveland Indians in Major League, where he got the glasses and all of a sudden he found the strike zone. Nick Borrman, give me a futures bet.
I like that glasses play. Listen, I'll stick with the top 4 play, and I'll throw a couple options out there. So 2 years ago, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, top 4 teams in expected goals, top 4 teams in the table. What happens next year? Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and United, top 4 teams in expected goals, top 4 teams in the table. It's very predictive, expected goals for long-term plays. When it's honestly the best tool I use. It's not going to predict every game, but as far as long-term and looking at futures, it's very, very good at predicting what's going to happen with teams slowly moving up or down the tables. And it's been dead on in the last couple of years. The teams end the season there, they go right back there unless something crazy happens. But I would be very surprised to see any other team in the top 4. However, if you're going to choose one of them, the next best 3 teams, according to expected goals, Leicester, of course, 4-1 for a top 4. Then you have West Ham. They were the 5th best in expected goals. They're 14-1 for a top 4. And then you have good old Brighton, which, you look at the table, they were lucky to be not relegated, yet they were right there in the top 7 as far as expected goal differential last year, and they're 25-1. So just throwing any of those out there, as if you're going to play a top 4 team, those, according to expected goals last year, were the 3 closest teams to the top 4. And it's a big drop-off from the top 4. It's hard to really get behind any of them, but those would be the 3 I would look at for next year.
All right. Final word goes to Kevin Dolan on this one.
Well, said at the top of the show, obviously I got 6 futures loaded up already, but one of my favourite ones I'm already on is Leicester to win the EPL title at plus 5,000. That just looks way too big for me right now. I mean, Nick just mentioned how good they are in XG. I mean, this team annihilated City 6-2 on the road last season to beat Chelsea in the FA Cup final. Won the same title 5 or 6 years ago as well. So, if you're going to give me 50-1 in a team of that quality ahead of a brand new season, I'll take a piece of that all day, every day. Simple as that. Brendan Rodgers has his critics, obviously, but in terms of actual managerial ability, I think he's one of the best tacticians in the league right now. I'm absolutely loving the moves Leicester have made during this off-season. They've brought in Soumare from the French champions Lille over the summer. He's an absolutely fantastic player, represented France on the 21 level, and he should pair up really well with Tielemans in the middle of the field. And, another one that brought in Patson Daka as well, another huge addition for Leicester up front. He was the highest goal scorer in the Austrian Bundesliga last season, scored 30% of all RB Salzburg goals last year. And, both Arsenal and Liverpool had that guy targeted as well for this summer. So it shows you the kind of talent this guy is. And I just think Leicester's making all the right moves right now. They've added substantial upgrades to a team that were already a Champions League level team last season. So, at 50-1, it's a definite play on the Foxes for me ahead of this season.
Yeah, that Claudio Ranieri managed Leicester City team. I think that was 2016, I think it was. 5,000-1, but most of the bookies didn't have that price. Those were like sort of the super fans who played it at the beginning. Most of the bookies were anywhere from 100-1 up to 300-1 as far as their biggest liabilities on that one. So sometimes these big futures do come in, Kev. So with that said, guys, just remember EPL 50 is the show promo. You can get $50 off the $299 price for the complete EPL season package. So that's every single play released in the EPL from your favorite capper, which is $299. You can get $50 off. That coupon is good until next Wednesday at midnight. I'll remind you guys again on next Tuesday's show. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Good luck with your wagers. And we'll see you all Tuesday at 10 a.m.
How much do you want to pay for the NFL and college football season? You decide how much you want to save. Right now, WagerTalk is offering their lowest price for the 2021 NFL and college football seasons. From now through the start of the regular season, we are offering special early bird pricing, but these prices will increase by $20 per sport and $30 for the college football and NFL combo every week until the season kicks off. Save up to $200 this week by buying your favorite WagerTalk capper for the package, and remember, the longer you wait, the less you save.